Okay, welcome back to I Call Bull. This is not really episode 5. It's more of a short update just to let you know what's going on. Unfortunately, I've been flat out at work and I've got a couple of weeks training at TAFE, so I won't really be able to put out much more content for the next couple of weeks. So I do apologise. That's how that repairs turned out, and I'll show you how we did that up. But yeah, it's really more just an update this weekend to show you a technique that I told you I'd show you last week in bending up those lips. So I do apologise for the shortness of this one. I'll try and get some content out as often as I can, but it will be few and far between for a couple of weeks, just while I get TAFE out of the way. Thanks for sticking in there, and let's get on with it. Right, looks like the mystery's been solved. Thank you to everybody who commented that this was probably for a LPG conversion, or an LPG filler. Fancy doing that. I can understand back in the day though, when it was like a third of the price of fuel. I can't understand why you would patch it like that though. But anyway, moving on from that. I am going to make up this section here. So I told you last week that I would show you that. I didn't get to it, so let's go and do that now. Okay, so that's my profile of the inner boot lip, and I got a bit of cable tie that was cut off the end after I'd used it and trimmed it to length, and I line it up here. There's nothing special in this whatsoever. I line it up there and then I bring it all the way around. So I'll do that, and that gives me the length. And then I trimmed it off to size. Alright, so that's how long that whole sheet of steel needs to be width-wise. And then I give it a little bit extra to do the lip and weld it in. Now, each side needs to be 500 long. That gives me a little bit extra either end to cut down, and so we go slightly over width on it and slightly over length, and then we trim it to size, obviously. Alright, that's 5, or no, that's 600. Yeah, that's dead on 600. So that's alright. I will trim a little bit off that. So, like I say, incredibly basic. This whole thing is so simple. Right, I'll put that on there, and I'll make a mark. And this is not rocket science at all. Same thing here, put me a little bit of cable tie on, make a mark. Trim that off. Oh, okay. Take 100 off the end first. If you don't have, most people won't have one of these. Just use the angle one. It's not a drama. You're a better man than me if you want to do 500mm cut with your tin snips. Back in the day, yeah, but not anymore. Not interested in that. You can also go down to Bunnings and get a shear. All these babies. a nibbler, something like that. But anyway, tuck that in there. Find your mark. Trim that. Make sure we're square on that. We are square. Actually, really enjoyed doing that. Brings out my inner child. Oh, I think I went the wrong side of that. I did. I went the wrong side of my line. I did. That's the texture width. Makes a lot of difference. I'll chuck that back in and trim that up again. What a peanut. Right. Try that. Perfect. Ta-da! What I do, very simple, where are you? Is I just roll it. So I start off with this first, where are you? With this first, this is the inner lip. This is the one that carries the boot rubber, I believe. Alright, so I do that. Put my mark there for that. Right, and then I roll that. Try and get my bend in the center of that. And I mark that. And then I do the same again. Like I say, none of this is rocket science at all. Probably need to bend this tab out the way. Okay. Right, and then I bend that. Then I measure from about the middle of that to this last one, and then that wasn't a problem last time. I don't know why it's been a problem today. Then there. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then we come over to the bender. Put our second line in, which is our first bend. And I'm glad that the camera's not on me right now, because I just have my tongue sticking out like a special kind of fella while I concentrate. You also want to try and get your lines in the middle, or in the same spot both sides, because as I just showed you with that cut before, your lines can make a big difference. The texture width can be quite significant in this kind of game. So we come for up to a 75-degree bend on that, and then we're going to chuck in our second bend, which is the first one we marked. When your marks gets it bend. This is probably the longest bit of the job, is just making sure you're on your marks correctly. Okay, lock that down. And this one, because it's a hook lip, I like to go right up past 90, well past 90. And pop him off. I've got that nice little hook in there. That's bloody marvellous. What have I done? There. That's marvellous. And then we bend this one. Okay, I've got that in there, but I'm not convinced because I rubbed the mark off on this end, so I'm not convinced. So I'm just going to take a measurement here. 13. Hay fever season. It's kicking my butt. Yep, 13. Yep, 13. Oh, goodness me. Okay, and that's a 90, I think. Let me have a look. Yeah, that's a 90. And if you have a look, that's pretty darn close, near enough. Alright, and I should really put a little fold on that. But I don't think I'm going to. Alright, that's that. That's how that's done. Pretty, flaming, basic. Now I've got the other one to do. So I'm going to go and do that. Okay, so that's the first one welded in. No, not welded in, tacked in. Yeah. It's like a patchwork flipping quilt, isn't it? Yes, that's... Here's the lip and everything. And I've tied it into that original lip. Bit of hammer and dolly work got to happen here. battery number 3. Okay guys, thanks for watching. We're just going to cap it there for this week. As I said, it's a busy one for me and I won't have any more time on this for at least 2 weeks. So I'll try and get some content out next week. I can't promise anything, and I do appreciate you guys liking, subscribing and commenting, and I don't want to let you down, but with TAFE and everything else, I just can't guarantee that the content will be there every single week. So, like I say, I'll do my best. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you when I'm looking at you.